Welcome back, everyone. On day 7, it is a pleasure to have you all here. Our second speaker for today will be talking about a very delicate subject, let's say, sales and how to sell without selling your soul. Please welcome with me, Liz Wendling. Liz, it is a pleasure to have you here today. Would you like to tell us more about you and what you do?
I'd be happy to. So I am a sales strategist and business coach, and I primarily work with female professionals who tell me they love what they do, but they hate to sell. That's their words, not mine. They actually have a love-hate relationship with selling. They know they have to do some sort of selling in their business, but they don't like the way it feels when they're selling. So they love what they do, but the sales part is the part that they resist. They don't want to step into fully with confidence and self-assuredness because they don't have a defined process, or they haven't updated their process from years ago. And the worst part, Miriam, they're using someone else's sales process. Someone taught them how to sell a couple of years ago, and they just keep duplicating that, even though they know it's not working anymore and it's doing more harm than good in their business. So I help them strip away all the crap that's in the way of them hating sales and get them to the point where they understand that they could be themselves, act themselves, show up as themselves, and never have to sell their soul to sell anything. And that's my mission on life.
I love it. I love your mission, sell without selling your soul, right? This is so accurate, actually. And where do you think that this love-hate relationship comes from? So when I look at myself and at the female entrepreneurs that I know, for us, selling is something, I don't want to say it's no fun, but it's something that is not really pleasant for us to do, because we know our products work. We know what they can do, how they can transform lives. So I always try to go away from the word selling, because the word itself for me is like, Yeah. So where does this come from? That hate, that a feeling that is not that pleasant feeling, that you feel uncomfortable alone talking about it.
Yeah. And most people have that same feeling, but that feeling is because of what your mindset has attached to that word. It's a 4-letter word, and it derails so many people and so many businesses, especially women, because of what they think selling is. So I always challenge people when they say, oh, I don't even call it selling. I call it serving. I call it sharing. I call it talking to people. I don't care what you call it. I just care that you're damn good at it. So stop fooling yourself for thinking that you're not selling, you're serving. Yes, there's an element of serving and sales. Of course there is in every part of business. But don't trick yourself into thinking that all you have to do is serve and people will rush to you and hand you their credit card and say, I want to buy from you. What it really comes down to, and it's what Miriam, what you do best, is you teach people around the mindset. So if you don't change your mindset, you can't change your business. If you don't change how you think about sales, you'll never be able to truly be successful in sales. Think about people who hate the word diet or hate the word gym. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't like how I feel when I go to the gym. That's great. Don't go to the gym, but you don't get the results of going to the gym and having a healthy body. So I push against that really hard with people. And that's why they hire me, because I can break down that big wall that they have and help them understand that if we don't break that wall down, it's going to be very hard to get people to go over the other side and join you where your products and services are, to be able to say yes to you. So change your mindset, change your skill set, and you will change your income. Period. The end.
And everybody wants that income, right?
Yes. Yeah, they talk about it. They say they want to grow their business, but I don't want to do the thing that makes me grow my business, right? I want to double my sales, but don't you dare make me do the only thing that will do that. I want to stay away from that. And all the networking, all the marketing, all the books that you could read, all the programs that you will buy will not do anything if you believe that you don't have to sell or you have any kind of negative perception around sales and selling.
Exactly. And usually when somebody does not feel really good about sales itself, is it that they just don't like their product? Because when you really like what you have, when you know that what you have is helping others, how can you not love selling? Because everybody needs it.
That's
So
right.
sell it.
That's right. But
Right.
there's still I call it junk in the trunk. There's still some junk left in the trunk around how they feel when they show up, what they think they're doing something wrong or unethical or sleazy or manipulative. But it's not that. Just like you said, Miriam, if you really have a passion for what it is that you do, why not talk to people about it? Why not understand the way people make buying decisions and understand what they need in order to say yes to you? Because if you're not giving it to them, they're going to go somewhere else. They always do.
Mm-hmm. And you just said something, the way they're making buying decisions. Can you say something to that?
Well, the way people make buying decisions now is very different than it was even just 5 short years ago. What do we all do when we're thinking about, I don't know, starting a program or wanting to Google some information? We hit the websites. We bounce from website to website, devouring as much information as we can, reading about how we can go about making a change or doing something different. So we're gathering all this information. So now the consumer is way more educated. They don't always believe everything you say because they've done their own education. They're self-educated. So when they show up and they're ready to talk to a quote unquote person who is selling them something or salesperson, they already are thinking, boy, I'm going to be watching everything that you say, because if you're not confident, I'm going to pick up on that. If you don't talk to me as someone who knows what I want, but I need your help in the decision-making process. If you don't help me and you only try to sell me and push me and force me into a one-way street, then I'm not buying from you. And a lot of those conversations, Miriam, end with, okay, well, thank you for your time. Appreciate what you've shared with me, but I'm going to need to think about that. Or now's not the right time, or it's a little too expensive for me, because you didn't help them break down that barrier in their brain that you may be the right person to buy from.
That's very interesting. And you're so right. I totally agree what you said, right? So whenever you can break through those walls and make them feel, I totally need what you have. And let's go a step further, make them feel I need it now.
That's it. Yes. And
So
if not now, tomorrow, right?
Yeah. But how can you make them wanting it now? Because buying is all about wanting, right?
Mm-hmm.
My husband always says, do you really need this? I said, it's not that I need it, it's that I want it.
Yeah. But what a lot of women do is when they see someone that shows even a little sign of, I think I do want what you're selling. A lot of times women, they will say, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be aggressive. So they do one of two things when this happens. Someone is saying, oh, well, I really like your product. Tell me a little more. How much is it? They either step on the gas and sound like an old school stereotypical salesperson, and they don't even realize they're doing it. Oh, you're going to love this. It's the best product in the world, and you need this. That's stepping on the gas. Or, Miriam, they go the opposite way, and they get wishy-washy and passive, and they start pulling back. And you better bet that people are watching that. They see that. They feel that. They can tell, all right, this lady's stepping on the gas. I'm not buying. Or this lady has no confidence. I'm not buying that either. So I teach women how to find that middle ground, that place, that magic in the middle of where they can be confident and strong and still move that person into a decision or not. Sometimes people don't buy from us because it's not a good fit, not because of anything else. But how do you maintain that place in the middle without going too hard or too soft?
Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, people usually buy the person too, not only the product.
That's
they buy
the first,
you.
Yes, that is
If
it.
they like you, they want to do this with you, not with your neighbor,
So true.
Let me ask you about your book, because I really love what you're saying there. You say, sell without selling your soul. Can you even do that?
It is possible. It's possible, but it's the only way to do this. And I mean, only way to do this. There isn't another program you can buy to loosen that thought in your body that selling means I have to sell my soul. There isn't another coach that you can hire who tells you I can just teach you how to sell. No, it's your mindset first. So the first thing we need to do is to shift the mindset and the mantra that selling is wrong or evil or bad, or I shouldn't do it, or I don't want someone to think I'm trying to sell them something. The minute you show up with that mantra, you're done. You might as well go home. You might as well end the Zoom call, because you're bringing that negative energy into the call. And selling a lot of times is associated with that pushy, manipulative, using tactics that were taught in the 1980s. And no one wants that. So when women say, oh, I don't want to sell my soul, or I don't want to be pushy, well, I say, good, don't do that. Nobody wants that. They want you to step up as a business equal. They want you to be an equal partner in this conversation. And the minute you make it about something else, you'll always lose. There's no way you can't if you're bringing that into that. And another reason that this gets in the way is that we've all had bad experiences. There are bad salespeople out there that are just lousy at their craft because they've not updated, or they were taught by lousy sales professionals. So that's where that negative stereotype gets hammered in even more. They think they have to use pressurized tactics or have to be a little dishonest for someone to buy from them, when in fact it's the opposite. It's when you get to speak from your heart, from your highest and best place. And that's what people are connecting with. They're not connecting with what you're saying that's coming out of your head. Oh, I need to ask this question, or someone taught me that I need to say this. Drop all of that stuff and let it come up from your heart. And I say that with a little caveat that you just don't want to sit and talk to someone and let stuff come off your heart. You want to have a process. You want to understand that the brain needs information in a very specific way. So you need to understand that part, but allow your authenticity come along for the ride. So a woman with a great sales process, but also is authentic and genuine and heart-based and heart-centered with the right approach, you're unstoppable when you pair those two up. But you cannot sell any other way unless you realize it's not about selling your soul. It's about doing the right thing for someone who may need your product and service.
Who will need, exactly. And usually you have something that you know everybody needs, right?
Yes. And Miriam, there's too much at stake. There is too much at stake, especially right now with the world that's changing. Way too much at stake to hide behind the wall of, I don't like to sell. It doesn't work for me. I don't like how I feel. And when I hear women say that, I always say to them, I want you to repeat all of those back to me. I don't like it. I don't like how I feel. I don't think I have to sell. I don't think I should sell. And I say, who's that about? And they realize, oh my God, I say that I'm client-centered or I'm all about the customer, but I'm not when I use those statements that say, I don't like it. I don't like how I feel. And I say, well, then stop making it about yourself. What if you stepped into a conversation making it all about someone else? No junk in the trunk, no connection. You're disconnected from any kind of outcome. And I say to them, you're leaving sometimes $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 on the table every time you say, I don't like to sell. I don't think I should. So when you change your language, that's when you can start changing your results. Make it about them, not you. It's not about you.
Yeah. And, I remember that when I started in my business, somebody told me you need to create that certain urgency that they want it now. So what do you think about that urgency saying, for example, well, now is the special offer that you get 500 off, or I only have 10 spots available for this coaching class. Is this like one of those strategies that come from the 80s, or would you recommend to really proceed with that urgency?
That's such a great question. I will say that's 1995 at its best. Absolutely. When I see people say there's only 10 spots left, I know what that means. We're conditioned now. We're more sensitive to, oh, today's the only day that I could offer you $500.
Yeah.
And to me, that's being pushy. The very thing people don't want to be is pushy, salesy, aggressive, or sleazy. And then they whip out these 1995 tactics and think that they're not going to show up that way. And I personally believe that people are way more sensitive these days to the words we use, and they're getting in the way of this beautiful transaction that can happen. So I teach my clients to let people have some grace. So if someone says, oh gosh, Miriam, this is so good, and I know that I want to work with you. I'm right on the edge of doing this, but I do have to go figure something out. Or I just paid my taxes and I need to see if I can work something else out. Sometimes people need to be let go with the most grace and honesty versus, oh no, it's only good for our Zoom call today. I would rather say to someone, look, let's make a plan. How much what do you need? 24 hours, 48 hours to figure this out? Let's figure out a way where we can stay connected. We'll work through the details if we need to or not. And if this is the right fit, we'll make it work together. And the $500 may or may not be on the table or off the table, but to press down on someone's head because you want to make a sale, I think is so old school and outdated. And people, like I said, are more sensitive to that. So they're thinking in their head, here we go again. Yep, today's the only day for your special offer. Yeah. Watch me not buy from you at all. That's what causes that people to back away completely.
Yeah, which also leads me to another question, because I know in your book you talk about outdated sales language. What do you mean by that? Can you?
Oh my God, Miriam, I could talk for 2 hours on this. All right, so I'm gonna just start rattling them off. When people start an email that says, "I hope you're doing well," now this is to someone who you hardly know or not know at all. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope this email finds you well. I hope. Well, you don't know me, and I know that you didn't sit down and start writing an email and hope that I had a fabulous weekend if you don't know me. So lose that crap. People see right through it. It doesn't mean anything anymore. And it's not for the other person, it's for you. So when people say, I hope you had a good weekend, now I'm going to try to sell you something, that's what it sounds like. I hope you had a good weekend. I wanted to share with you my new program that I'm doing. So you're not doing anything but baiting and switching someone. So lose that language, get to the point, let people know why you're communicating with them, and they will appreciate that. My least favorite words are following up, touching base, reaching out, and checking in. Everyone on this planet is just following up, just touching base, reaching out, and checking in. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. I scrutinize before I start working with someone. I have them send me some of their emails that they're sending out. So all the words I'm talking about are in almost every email I see. Just following up, just seeing if you got my information, just want to touch base. Did you get my proposal I sent you? Well, guess what? All 4 of those words mean I'm pushing you to make a decision. It means the same thing for everyone. Knock, knock, just bumping my email to the top, just in case you didn't get my last 47 emails. No, what that means is every time you have to touch base, reach out, follow up, and check in, every time you do that, it means your previous email was awful. It means it didn't get their attention. It means that you didn't have enough of a connection for them to stay in communication with you. Suddenly you got salesy. Just following up, touching base, reaching out, and checking in is very salesy. We all know what that means. Remember, I said people are really sensitive to the words that we use. Those 4 will get you every time. And then my favorite is the L word, love. I would love to schedule a time to talk to you. I would love to get together. I'd love to have a cup of coffee. I'd love to. Who is that all about, Miriam?
Me.
Yes. So it's what you love. What about me? Why don't you invite me instead of telling me what you want to do? Invite me into something we might want to do mutually. Don't tell me what you want. Invite me to what you want. That would be like me knocking on my neighbor's door and saying, I would love it if you drove me to the airport. I don't feel like dealing with parking my car out there. Instead of saying, would you be available next Tuesday to shoot me out to the airport? That's an invitation. I can say yes or no. So when you tell someone what you would love to do, In their head, they're like, yeah, I know why you'd love to have a conversation with me. You want to sell me something. You didn't invite me. So and that's just a smattering of some of the words that when people say, I hate to sell, but when you use words like this, you look like you're selling and you're salesy at it. So when I tell people that you can change your language and change your results, I freaking mean that. When you start shifting the things that you say and do in your emails and in your communication with people, they start viewing you as different. They start saying, gosh, I like the way this lady's communicating with me, or I really appreciate what she has to say, or wow, she didn't force me at the end of the sale to buy today because the sale was only good today. She gave me the grace that I expected her to give me. Something shifts in their mindset because you shifted your mindset and you shifted your language.
I totally love that. Yeah, because the energy that you're sending out is a completely different one.
Yes.
Than when you want to make that sale now, and they really feel it. I feel it too. When somebody wants to sell me something, I can feel that energy, that urgency. I'm like, what's the matter? Are you behind with your rent, or why do you need to sell like right now?
That's what it feels like. And who wants to buy something when it isn't either a good fit for them or the timing is off, when 3 weeks from now may be a better timing for me? And then I say yes from my heart, not from my head because you're pushing me. The whole dynamic shifts. I've had people come back to me a year later and say, I want to thank you for giving me that time to make a decision. When we had our sales conversation, I could tell that I wasn't ready because this person was feeling it inside, saying, and I'm so glad you didn't push me to do it. Now I'm ready. Let's have another conversation. And because I give people the grace to be in that space to make the best and highest decision for themselves, they come back to me. It's that beautiful magnet, and it works so beautifully. But people won't come back to you when you push them on that first call or even a second call or 17 follow-up messages later. They're not buying. They are not going to buy 17 messages later.
So let's say you really give them the time they need, right? We have a conversation to say, look, I understand that you really want this program. You just have to figure something out on how to get the money. Why let's not follow up in, let's say, 48 or 72 hours? When you send your email out, how do you word it if you don't use, I wanted to follow up, I wanted to check in?
Well, what I teach people is to have a follow-up conversation before you send any email after that. So while I have someone on a Zoom call, on the phone, sitting in their office, I have a collaborative follow-up conversation. I will say, Miriam, I really appreciate the desire to have a little more time to think about it. I would too. I'm not one of those kind of salespeople or professionals that like to push people into doing something. But I also am not a professional that lets people sit on the fence. It's a yes or a no at some point, and you and I can figure out what that is. When would you like us to stay in touch? I don't say, how about I follow up with you? Because I just told everybody don't use the F word. So I say, how would you like us to stay in communication? You need 2 days, 5 days. Let's do this together, but let's make a promise to make sure we finish our conversation one way or the other. So I have that strong upfront conversation with someone that I'm not like everyone else. I'm not going to say, great, I'll follow up with you in 2 days. Great, I'll check in with you, because we all know what that means. The conversation isn't firm and strong enough at the end if you're just saying, okay, I'll follow up with you. I want to be that professional who holds the space for this person to make a decision or not. I am fine with no, and I love a yes. But I am not going to make someone say yes right then and there. I'm going to hold them, but I am going to hold their feet to the fire. And I will even say to them, a no is fine, but I appreciate a yes as well. But you and I have to figure out if it's right for that. But I don't drop the ball on people, and I'm not going to send you endless follow-up emails. I'll even tell that to them. I'm not one of those people who sends an email following up with you 10 or 12 times. You and I are going to have a high-level connection call to figure out what's next. You and I are going to have a high level buttoning up the conversation, whether it's yes or no. And I've even seen them on the call like, you know what? I could do that. They're shocked because I showed up different. My mindset was different and my language was different. And I held their feet to the fire, but I also held their soul there as well. It's like, no, we're going to make a decision. You and I had this conversation today because you really are looking to buy something, to buy a program, but I don't want you to buy it because it's under my time frame. So I can have a very long, quote unquote, follow-up conversation with someone to let them know how I operate, and then it becomes collaborative. So I put it back to them. So what do you think? You tell me, how should we stay in touch? And then let's say they say to me, let's talk by Wednesday, or give me 48 hours. Great. So are you calling me or am I calling you? I'll call you, Liz. Great. And if I don't hear from you, is it okay if I call you? Absolutely. Now there's my follow-up, quote unquote, follow-up message. Miriam, in our last conversation, or the last time we talked, you said you'd be calling me on Wednesday and hadn't heard from you. And then that's where the conversation, it's like, it's a continuation. It's not a follow-up. You are not following up. You're continuing the beautiful conversation you had with someone. Now, this part takes a little practice because it really is stepping into that strong and solid place. So I like to role play this with people. They never get out of my coaching programs without some role play. I want them to try it on me first, get really good at it, and that start baking that into their sales process.
I totally love that. Liz, this is so valuable what you just shared.
Thank you.
Because the words that you use are so completely different from that regular standard sales conversation that we are taught, right?
Hate. That's the part.
Hate, exactly. And hate. And I totally can see how that transforms people, how you step into that love relationship. Why? Because you're in control now.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
I like to say I'm in charge, not control.
Okay.
So I'm in charge, because control, again, has another negative connotation. I don't ever want to control, but I do like to step into taking charge as to what happens next. Where do we go from here? And it's such a gift we give to ourselves and our potential client. It's a beautiful exchange.
Yeah. Yeah. And you really make them see the value of what you have, and that there's no need for you to make the sale with them, because if they don't buy, somebody else will buy, and you're completely fine with that, right?
That is so true. And with that attitude that you just said, there's something really freeing, knowing that the right person will always find me. My ideal clients always find me. I don't go chasing anymore. I joke and say, I took off my really good high heels, my high-priced high heels, and traded them in for a nice pair of flats, because I don't run after people anymore. I don't need good running shoes to chase after clients. I don't care, because if it's meant to be, it will come back. And if it's the right foot, we'll get together. But it has to be held at a totally different place than it's been in the last 10 or 20 or 30 years, and lose all those old school, outdated language patterns and phrases and habits that get in the way of a beautiful connection.
Yeah, and I love it. And you just mentioned those habits that we have, and we really need to create new habits and a new belief around the whole sales process, around selling, so that we feel better, we're sending out a different energy. The client feels it and wants to stay with us.
That's right.
What a great interview.
And refer people. How about that? That's it. That's
even better.
Right.
Liz, tell us, how can people find you when they say, I love Liz, what she's teaching and the whole process. I need to learn more about it. I need to learn how I can apply this to my product. How can they find you?
If you just Google my name, my website is lizwendling.com. I've got so many videos on there, as well as YouTube, even masterclasses on my website on the very stuff we talked about today. And if you want to go further, you can go to Amazon, you can buy my books, but I am always open and available to have a heart-to-heart, one-on-one conversation with someone who's in the same place that we talked about today. And we'll talk things through. I do a business scan and a sales MRI on people. And that is to be able to truly scan their business and their body and figure out what's stuck, what's wrong, where's the mindset, and where's the skill set that needs to be addressed.
Perfect. And as always, you will have Liz information in the email that went out this morning. So make sure to take a look there to connect with her. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Tomorrow, we will be talking with our expert, Cheryl Pluff, about how YouTube can help you accelerate your business. And we also have Janelle Kelly here, who will be talking about vision and intuition. I can't wait to
Fun.
be talking about those topics. Liz, thank you so much for being part of this show, for coming on here today and explaining our sales.
You are welcome, Marian. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
So tomorrow morning, you will get the videos directly to your inbox. Make sure to tune in. See you all tomorrow. Bye.